We've got some semi-blue skies, which for this time of year is pretty great. Things are actually looking colorful and nice, so I wanted to take this opportunity to chat again about some photo video techniques and stuff. I wanted to chat a little bit about lenses. Now, if you're like me, you really love making artsy looking videos and you would love to have a whole arsenal of all sorts of different types of expensive lenses, but you probably don't want to spend that much money. So you're trying to be picky about what lenses you do use on your vlog camera. The main lens that I actually use when making these vlogs is this kit lens. What I mean by kit lens, it's a lens that comes with the body of this camera. This is a LUMIX G85. Has a good zoom range. It goes from 12 to 60, which gives me a fairly wide view and the ability to zoom in. It's nice and versatile, which for my style of filming is a must. I want to be able to zoom in on interesting things going on back there and still be able to get wide for when we're, walking around and doing the thing. When I'm out walking around, I just have the lens zoomed out as much as possible to get good surroundings, and if I want to get a little bit more artistic, that's when you want to start zooming in. When you actually increase the focal distance, you get good compression of the background and foreground. It also gives you more of a bokeh effect, like a shallower depth of field. The background gets blurry. So right now we're zoomed out all the way, and I'm just going to zoom in on like this parking meter for some artsy B-roll. So with one lens, I'm able to achieve a variety of effects. So this lens stays on my camera over 90% of the time. I can use it for most things. The problem with versatility, as with most things, is that when something can do everything, it can't do any one thing very well. So starting with wide angle capabilities, most kit lenses can't actually get that wide. If this lens could go just a little bit wider, so I didn't have to strain my arm so much to get it out there, and even more so, sometimes it's difficult shooting with this lens in tight areas because you can't always get it far enough away from the subject or see enough of what's going on. So if I'm in a tight area like this stair set thing, there's not as much room to get the lens away from me and you can't really see where I'm at. So what I'm going to switch to right now is this very inexpensive lens that I bought. I think it was like $75. It doesn't have autofocus or any fancy stuff like that. It is a wide angle fisheye lens. It's an 8mm lens. So let me pop this on real quick. Alright, look at that. Look how much wider this is. And now going down the stairwell, you can see more of the surroundings. Even without the room to hold the camera out further, you can see more of what's going on. When I'm holding it out as wide as I can, you can see so much of what's going on, but unfortunately you can also see the arm a little bit more. So, trade-offs, and I don't know, is this even in focus? I also don't like how distorted the image gets because this is technically a fisheye. I think on higher quality wide angle lenses you get a lot less of this like warping effect that you do with this fisheye, but like I said, it gets the job done. It's good for tight spaces and good like wide angle time lapses. And now the last lens that I want to talk about is my personal favorite, the prime lens. This is a fixed 25mm lens that allows for a much wider aperture. Focus, focus. I can't reach it to focus. All right, this is a 25mm lens that can open up to a 1.7 aperture. This kit lens that we started with, just as it can't get as wide as the fisheye lens, can't get as big of an aperture as my prime lens. When it is zoomed out all the way, it can open up to a maximum of a 3.5 aperture, and when it is zoomed in all the way, it can only open up to it's like a 5.6. I only really use this lens when I'm going to do monologues like this, where I know I'm going to be standing in one spot and want to make things look as good as possible, or if I'm trying to get that sweet B-roll montage, like this. The issue with prime lenses is you probably want to choose a larger focal length and get that cinematic look, which means that it becomes very difficult to do selfie mode. I've got my arm extended out as much as I can, the tripod extended as much as I can, and I mean, if I want to say something kind of important, I really want you to focus on what I'm saying, then, you know, this is nice because all the attention is zoomed in on my face and what I'm saying, but at that point, I'm probably gonna set the camera down and make it a fixed shot like I had before. Walking with a camera with a focal length like this just really isn't practical. And back to the go-to kit lens so we can get a bit wider of a view as we're walking again. So while the prime lens is my favorite because it allows for the most aesthetically pleasing image, it's not really going to be able to serve as your only lens. So if you have to choose just one of these, it's not going to be the prime lens. But I do highly recommend it as your second lens so that you can get into that B-roll, that artsy stuff. So as far as choosing one between the first two, the wide angle or the kit lens, that's going to be personal preference. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about my thought process behind using focal length and lenses and all that stuff to make these vlogs. It's something I really enjoy talking about because I've been putting more and more thought into it. Woo! Anyways, since it is such a nice day, I would also like to get some flying in. If you're new here, I am a FPV drone pilot that does freestyle. So I'm gonna try and run off to some cool spot to race my drone around. So I'm just getting to one of my favorite flight spots. Psyched to be here. Now I know that most people that watch my videos are themselves FPV pilots. So I want to expand a little bit about everything that I was talking about earlier regarding using different types of lenses, because I do think it's relevant to the idea of making freestyle flight videos, because I'm seeing more and more people getting creative with different ways that they integrate other types of video stuff into their flight videos, whether that means you're making a full-blown vlog or if you're just enhancing your flight videos with cool B-roll. A lot of what we talked about can definitely be used in your FPV content. You can use these techniques to show more about the area that you're flying and the story of you being there flying. You can use that prime lens to really show the details of some grass blowing in the wind or the texture of the rust on like that structure. You can use that wide angle fisheye lens to show more of the location in a single frame, which gives you more of like a scale and a scope of where you are. So to end this video, what I'm going to do is put together a little montage I'm going to shoot here. FPV flight footage mixed with cool prime lens shots and wide angle shots. I'm going to put it together in a way that hopefully shows you how you can use all these things that we talked about in your vlogs or in your FPV content, whatever it is you want to make. I just wanted to make this video to inspire more people to get out and push themselves creatively and use a camera that they might already have. So thanks for checking this out, and I hope you enjoy this next section.